Hi! So for this month's maker video, I was inspired by a customer's question about what do we do with, all the charms. If you've been in the shop, you know that we have hundreds of different kinds of charms. And if you don't make jewelry with them, it is kind of like, okay, well, what do you do with them? So I was thinking about recycling again, because I'm always thinking about how to use up things that still have some value. And so I wanted to do something with recycling and then also show a way to use the charm. So what I came up with was this little Matchbox protection shrine, I guess is what I would call it. So I was just thinking about when my son was little and I used to put things in his lunchbox. Generally speaking, they were little notes, but sometimes they'd be a little treasure. And I thought this would be a fun treasure to put into somebody's lunchbox or sneak into someone's office or whatever. So this is a little Matchbox shrine, and slide it open, and inside there is a little, for this one anyway, a little bottle of salt, which is said to absorb negative energies, and then some rosemary, which I always think of in terms of remembrance, and then a little heart. And I would probably include a card with this that would explain those things, or maybe not. And then I am a collector of nature objects. On the outside, I've glued a little wisteria pod, which to me is representative of resilience. And I thought that would be a fun thing to explain and send into a lunch or something. And then the number 5 has some significance for me. And there's also a little fortune from a vintage Swami fortune telling machine. And then I even kind of, the text underneath is a dictionary page, and there was the definition of star. And I thought that was a little sweet protection as well. So I'm going to show you what I did to make one of these little recycled Matchbox shrines, or pocket protectors, if you will. It won't turn out the same because obviously they'll all be different. For the one that I'm going to make for you, I'm going to use a little bit bigger Matchbox just so that it's easier to see. In the shop, we do carry, matches that are this size. So I know customers end up with these leftover boxes, and we also carry the mini matches. And so people often end up with those boxes as well. And this is a nice, fun way to reuse them. So what you're going to need is an empty matchbox, which I have here. And if your matchbox isn't empty, if you still have all of your matches, sometimes what we do in the shop is, rather than have them in the matchbox, which we try to buy the pretty ones, but sometimes we'll, take the matches and put them into a little container. And you can always glue a little circle of sandpaper on the bottom of your container, and then you have a striker right there. So you don't have to be all done with your matches to do this project. So you need a matchbox. You're going to need some charms that you've picked out. And I've just picked some various ephemera that I may or may not use. So I have these little transparent wings. I tend to use wings in my artwork as a symbol. I have a different bottle, a little bit bigger for this Matchbox. I've got some scrap ribbon, some wire. One thing I didn't put out was embroidery floss, which is something you could use. I've got some paper ephemera that I may want to glue on in some way, so I picked a couple of things that we do carry in the shop. I did go out into my garden to see, what things from nature I might want to include. So I picked a little bit of lavender, which has pretty much faded, so the bees have gotten most of the use out of it. I like to leave it until they're done harvesting. This is a little seed pod from an echinacea flower I might use. I've got some of these little transparent little plastic letters, and there's numbers as well. We carry those in the shop. I have some butterfly wings, and then you'll want some paper, thinner paper, probably not cardstock. So I have some vintage, this is a letter, and some sheet music. And then I have this strip. This is thicker paper. It's watercolor paper that was just a strip from another project I was doing, and I wanted to have that because it's sturdy enough to make a little pull tab on my box, and so I wanted that. For tools, you'll need an awl or some sort of sharp tool for poking just one hole. You'll want some scissors and a glue stick. This is my new favorite glue stick. It's called Glue, Gloo, and I'm really enjoying it. It does have a scent to it. It kind of smells a little bit like baby powder, so if you don't like a scent, then you probably don't want to get those. So those are the materials you'll need to get started. Super simple project, quick and easy, but I think will, be a treasure and something memorable for one of your beloveds. So first thing you want to do is pick out your papers that you're going to use, and you want them to be bigger than your Matchbox. I've already measured mine, so we didn't have to spend time watching me measure and cut. So I knew these were what I was going to use. So what I did is I measured the front and, the back of the box, their width. And then I also added on the dimension of the two sides so that I would get a paper long enough to wrap completely around the box in one long piece, so that I only end up with one seam. You could do it different ways. What I would recommend is that you do in some way wrap it rather than trying to glue a piece, because what you're going to get is some gaps in here that you probably won't necessarily like in terms of aesthetic. You could just, leave the beautiful Matchbox and not even do a paper around, but I always like to transform. So I measured that dimension, and then obviously I measured the height of the box. And then I really don't cut much. I just take a ruler, which I'm pausing because I'm trying to find where my ding dang ruler went. But I just take a ruler or something, even a heavy piece of cardstock, and lay it against my line and tear, because I do like the tattered edge look. So that's what you want to do there. And then for the interior, in order to, finish off the inside, you'll want a piece of paper as well. And so what I did for this paper is I measured not the exterior of the box, because this is a little bit smaller. I measured the back side, and then added to it the dimension for the sides and the dimension for the tops, and cut that out as a whole rectangle. And then after I had that rectangle cut out, I actually laid the box down. And, that's not the way I did it. I'm lying. I didn't lay the box down and trace, because then I wouldn't get the evenness here. So what I did is I took this measurement, made a line for that measurement and a line for that measurement, and then did the same thing at the top so that I could cut out these squares. You want to cut out the sides so that when you insert it, you don't have a bulk of paper to deal with in the corner. It just fits really nice and neatly. Now, one thing I will say is if you just measure one side and you say, oh, this side is the same as this side, the top is the same as the bottom, not true. They're a little bit different. And so when I got it all cut, it ended up that, one side was maybe a little bit longer than what I needed. And I just took my scissors and trimmed around as I needed to and kind of eyeballed and fiddled with it. I am a perfectionist in some regards, and so I tried to do this as neatly as possible, but at the same time, I like to work quickly. I don't have a lot of patience for really detailed work. So if you do, then I would highly recommend that you measure each side and then mark that on your paper, what side it belongs on, and then you'll get some really exact and precise measurements. But mine, I feel like, is good enough. So I've got my interior paper ready to go and my exterior paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in, and I want the music right side up. So I'm gonna go ahead and just, one of the things I love about these glue sticks, and I wish we could carry them, is that they're square. And so you can get right up to the edge of your paper, which generally is squared up when I'm gluing. Sometimes I work with round stuff, but it's just super nice to be able to get that nice tight edge with my glue stick. And generally I use like a glue paper. I put something underneath so that I don't get glue stick on my surface that interferes with other things, but I'm not gonna do that this time. So got that in there. And then I want to glue my base paper around my exterior. So what I do want is I want just to figure out which side and direction I want. I think I want the really ruffled edge at the bottom. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and do be generous with your glue. Like, don't skip the middle part, because when you work on a shiny surface, like the Matchboxes tend to be, they're not matte. They have that glossiness to them. Your glue, you need more glue. It doesn't necessarily want to hold as well as if it were a mattified surface. So I'm gonna start at the side because I want to make sure my seam kind of lands there. And then when I come to the corners, I'm just gonna give them a run with my fingers to really tighten up the corner there and make it not round, but more squared up. And I'm just gonna keep going and tightening up. I'm working quickly. Here in New Mexico, glue stick dries in the blink of an eye. So if you work too slowly, you'll get to the end and it won't be sticky anymore, and you'll have to, do the magic trick of holding the paper and whatnot and trying to get glue on there. So I have a little bit extra. I don't want to, I really want my seam to be on that side. So I'm just gonna trim up that extra and use the box as a guide and get that all nice and tight. So super simple. I mean, really, we're almost done, right? Quick and easy, but such a sweet project. I mean, who wouldn't want to receive one of these? Really sweet. One thing you might want is a glue gun, and I forgot to mention that. The glue gun, the glue will hold just a little bit better in some applications, and I want to use the glue gun for my tab because I really want to make sure that it holds. So what I'm doing is I have a really long sheet. Obviously, I don't want my pull tab to be that long, but I do want to kind of figure out how much I need before I cut. And I really want it to be two sides, the distance of an inside and the outside. And so I kind of just am doing it that way. Rather than get out the ruler and do all this measuring, I just like to do the quick and easy way. So I'm gonna set that aside while my glue gun warms up, but that's gonna be my little pull tab. And then I just need to decide what I want to do inside the box and what I want to do outside. And since this is a little bit of a protection box, I kind of wanted to do the salt, but what I'm realizing with this bottle is it's a little too, it'll fit, I think, but it's gonna pop up the lid a little bit and make it round out. and I'm not gonna like that. I already know. So I'm gonna not do a bottle of stuff. So that leaves me with some other choices to make. I really thought it would be fun to send off a note of like the key to things is courage. Like here you are going off to school again. It's been a while, or maybe it's the first year. And so just to send off that message of courage in doing that. So I really want to have the key and the courage in there. Although, well, those ones I'm not going to choose. I'm just going to, and I don't see a purpose for those, but I do love the scent of the lavender. So I know I want that to be in there, and these, and I want these to be dangling. And I want more than just the music in the background. I tend to use X's and O's a lot in my work, for obvious reasons, X and O. But maybe, well, if I put that in, then it's going to get all covered up with my lavender. And I know I want the lavender in there because I want this to be multi-sensory experience, which is why I included the rosemary too. So I know I want that. I think I'm going to put the X in maybe with a butterfly wing. No. Nope. I'm just going for the X for, you know, X's and O's. I love you. And okay, I'm already liking that, but I want these to be put together. So I could use embroidery floss and wind it around to give it some color. I'm gonna go ahead and use just this little scraplet of ribbon to get those guys tied together. And this, or the embroidery floss, will give me a way to glue it down. So I know that's gonna be a little too tall. So we're just gonna snip those stems right off. And perfecto. Okay, and that's a little too wide, so I'm just gonna snip that. Okay, I'm liking that. And then I know I want these to dangle. I don't want them to just be glued flat in there. I want them to hang down, and I want them to hang in front of everything. So I want it to kind of hang down on this side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of eyeball with my eyes, and I'm gonna bring it up close to the front of my box so it will hang in front. I'm just gonna poke a small hole with my awl, just enough for some thread. Fishing line would be fun because then you've got this invisible thread, which I love. I love to have like kind of magic-y tricks, but I don't have the fishing line here. It's at work. So I'm going to use just some wire, which isn't as fun because it won't swing. It's going to just be more steady. These are not my wire cutting scissors. Tip, don't use, okay, I'll come back and say it. Don't use your good paper scissors on wire. Just don't do it. It ruins your scissors. These are ones that are ruined. So I just use them for wire cutting and whatnot. And then I also have some pliers here. So I want this charm to go on and the little key to go on top. The key to courage, the key to it. The key to being successful is courage. All right, so I've got just a fold in my wire, if you're using wire, and then you just twist, and you get a cool little decorative element, if you'd like that. If you twist too much, they won't hang freely, so it kind of depends. I could keep twisting and really twist them up tight, but I like that dangly. So then I'm gonna run that. Oh, before I do that though, I'm gonna glue this in. And for this, since it's transparent, I'm gonna use glue gun because I can get just a little thin layer, hopefully, of glue there. And it's more transparent than the glue stick. And it'll probably hold this better as well. So I've got my little X, and I want that to go right there. Dink, dink. Okay, so there's my base. Just take a quick look again at how that's gonna look. I think that's gonna go there. I think I actually want it to dangle below the X. So I wanna make sure that I have about that much wire. I'm gonna take that out and we're gonna go up through that hole, hopefully. Oh, there we go. Right to that spot I marked, the little bend. Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of what that looks like. So I've got way too much wire, and I want to, like this one, I just did a little swirl to hold the wire at the top. So, but I don't need that much. So I'm gonna cut off about half of that. I hate to waste the wire like that. And then to make the swirl, I just kind of bend the wire and then start making a circle, just looping it around. To make a little decoration. I could do a better job of that, but for right now, I'm gonna leave it. I'll probably come back to that and do a little fixing. And then, whoop, there we go. There's my little courage. All right, and then I wanna get my lavender in there. And I'm just gonna glue it here. I'm not gonna, I like it to be kind of flooping free, flooping. So I'm not gonna glue down any of the plant itself. I'm just gonna glue it in right there at the ribbon. Use the ribbon as my anchor to the box. So there's my sweet little inside. I could, it would be fun maybe to do a little scroll with my writing on it, and I might do that later. Oops, getting caught up here. But I do think it'd be fun to do a little scroll of writing and tie it up and lay it in the bottom. That might be a fun way to add my writing to that. Okay, so that is essentially done. And I want to put my little pull tab in. So I'm just gonna put some hot glue on my pull tab. Get that tucked in. I'm not gonna pull on it for a while. It will pull out, but there's that. Ooh, I think it could have been longer. We'll see. And then tuck, tuck. And there is my sweet little shrine, but this to me feels incomplete. So I want to put something on the front of the box. Do what you love what you do. Or this one says be true. And I like this because then I could put a message there, but I don't want to use the back side of the envelope. So I either have to cut the flap off or do something so that this can be pulled out. So I think what I'm going to do is make a little tab for this, kind of like I did for the box. It needs to stick out far enough that they can grab it from the top of the tab. So I think I'll be good if I go with that much. All right, that looks good to me. I'm gonna give 2 little bloomps of glue bloop, bloop. And get one end glued to the back side, one end glued to the front side. Okay, now I have a place to write a note, which might eliminate the scroll idea from the inside. Okay, yeah, because now, once I glue that down, that'll still be able to be pulled in and out. So, I like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that envelope glued down. Already, glue stick's already drying out in this New Mexico climate. Poof that out. Aha! La la, I love it. Maybe, ooh, that'd be fun. Look at that, but that's kind of weird because the wings are that way. Ooh, but that's fun because then when they pull it out, oh, look at that. Oh, that's so fun. Okay, I like that. I'm doing it. Or maybe, nope, it has to go, oop, yep, nope, it could go that way, but that's upside down. So I'll do it down there. Oh, I like it. Like serendipity, when something you just go, oh, that looks so cute. So now I've got that colorful wing, and it looks like it's a colorful wing, but then you pull it out and there's another wing underneath. Fun. Okay. So I still have some lavender. I don't want anything, I don't think I want anything two-dimensional on the front because I want to be able to tuck it in a lunchbox or a pocket or a purse and not have stuff get knocked around. So I'll keep the dimension inside. Done and done. There's my little I love you shrine, pocket protection. And of course you could, add more paper. I don't know, if you added paper here, it'd probably get stuck in the box. I'd probably leave the exterior of the box just the way it is. You could probably do some sprays or some spray paint or some paint on it if you really wanted to get some color added to the actual box itself. The other thing that's kind of cool is then this could just sit on somebody's, desk or something as a shrine. Oh, that's fun too. Or if you wanted to get super fancy, you could put a little hanging hook here. Oh, all the ideas. You could put a little picture hook here, and then it could hang on the wall just like that, partly open. Oh my gosh, that would be adorable. So many ideas. Okay, so maybe a little picture hook is in order back there because I could just hot glue it on. It doesn't need to be super heavy duty, and then it'd be hangable. So there you go. What to do with charms turned into head out into your yard and find some really yummy treasures from the yard, some sensory treasures, tactile and things you can smell. But also, use up bits and bobs, little pieces of scrapbooking ephemera. We do carry all of these things in the store. So if you want to come on down and grab up some and make a bunch of little treasure boxes, protection boxes, shrines, we have what you need. Oh, I'm totally inspired now. Now I'm going to have to dump out a bunch of Matchboxes and make some more. These are so fun. I'm in love. I'm in love. I'm in love. All right. Well, I hope that you'll make one too. Give it to your special someone, maybe someone off to school or to a new adventure that maybe is feeling a little scary or, just those anxious feelings, butterfly, flutter by feelings. So have fun. There you are. Thanks.